Welcome to Mitzpeh Yericho. We are above Jericho. The city of Jericho is down there. The first city that Am Yisrael conquered under the leadership of Yoshua ben Nun. And if you look across behind Jericho, where the sun is shining onto the slopes of the Ammon Mountains, these are the plains of Moab further right, and the plains of Ammon further to the left, Arvos Moab, and Har Nebo right behind me, where you see the Dead Sea down in the valley. At the corner, a mountain above it with a little bit of greenery on top there. That's Har Nebo in Eretz Moab. The plains of Moab, the Jewish people camped over there from the end of Parshas Chukas until the death of Moshe Rabbeinu in Vezos HaBracha. Over here we have it on the map. Yerushalayim, Yericho, Har Nebo, and the plains of Moab in between. The Psukim tell us at the end of the Chumash in Dvarim Lamed Beis, says Hashem to Moshe, Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe be'etzem hayom hazeh lemor, Alel hara avarim hazeh, go to this mountain of Avarim, Har Nevo, Asher be'eretz Moab, which is in the land of Moab, Asher al pnei Yericho, which is above Yericho, overlooking Jericho, Ure'eh ta'aretz, and see the land, Eretz Knan, Asher ani noten livnei Yisrael achuzah, that I'm giving to the Jewish people as an inheritance, as to hold on. Ki mineget tir'eh et haaretz. You're gonna see it just from across, or from afar. Veshama lo tavo. But there you shall not come. El haaretz asher ani noten livnei Yisrael. To the land which I'm giving to the children of Israel, to the Jewish people.
And in Devarim, chapter 34, in Zos HaBracha, the last words that Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Vaya'al Moshe me'arvos Moab el Har Nevo, Rosh HaPisga asher al pnei Yericho, Vayareu Hashem es kol haaretz es Agilad Adan. And Moshe went up from Arvos Moab. There's my Arvos Moab across from the Dead Sea, just north of the Dead Sea. The plains of Moab, on the foothills of Moab, and the Jewish people encamped there and came up across to Yericho over here to attack Yericho. But before that happened, Hashem said to go up to the Rosh HaPisga, to Har Nevo, which is behind me. Those green mountains, it's a bit hazy right now, but on those green mountains, a little light you can see. Just to the right of that light is the greenery on the top of the mountain. That's Har Nevo. And Moshe went up to the Rosh HaPisga, and Hashem showed him the Gilad Adan. He looked into Eretz Yisrael and showed him Gilad Adan, to the north of Israel. Ves Kol Naphtali, Ves Eretz Ephraim and Menashe. He saw the land of Naphtali and the land of Ephraim and Menashe. Ves Kol Eretz Yehuda, and the land of Yehuda, Ad Yom HaAcharon, until the Great Sea. Veta Negev, Veta Kikar. He saw the Negev, the south, and the Kikar, Bikat Yericho, the valley of the Bika of Yericho, the valley of Yericho, Ir HaTmarim, the city of dates, Ad Tzoar, until Tzoar. Vayomer Hashem Elav, and God said to him, Zos haaretz asher nishbati la'Avraham, liYitzchak liYakov lemor. This is the land that I promised to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, saying, Lizaracha etnena, I shall give this land to your children. Herisicha ve'enecha, I will show it to you with your eyes. V'shama lo sa'avor, and there you will not cross and enter. Vayamas sham Moshe eved Hashem be'eretz Moav al pi Hashem. And there Moshe died, Moshe, the servant of God, in the Eretz Moav, the land of Moab, al pi Hashem, in the words of Hashem. What does it mean that Hashem commanded him, Vayarehu es kol haaretz, that he commanded Moshe Rabbeinu to see the land. What was the merit? What was the value in Moshe Rabbeinu seeing the land? And Rashi tells us to see the land bishalvasa, in its peaceful times, in its tranquility, vehamatzikin, and its dangerous, difficult times. He saw into the future, and he saw the good and the bad of the land. What is the significance of Moshe Rabbeinu seeing the future of Klal Yisrael, the future of the Jewish history, unfolding before his eyes as a prophecy in Nevuah? It says in the Torah, Adan. He went Adan. He saw what? Bnei Dan Ovdim Avodah Zarah. Hashem let Moshe see in his mind's eye, in a mind of Nevuah, he saw Adan. What's Dan? That the Bnei Dan were serving idols. But he also saw the good part. Shimshon she'asid latzeis mimenu lehoshia. He also showed him the positivity. He showed him Shimshon, Samson the Gribor, who was going to come out and save the Jewish people. Then it says in the Torah, he showed him Eskol Naphtali. He showed him the land of Naphtali. What did he show him? Bishalvasa, says Rashi, ubechurbana, in its peaceful time, its tranquility, and in its destruction. And he showed him Dvorah Ubarak versus Sisra, the war of Dvorah and Barak to destroy Sisra. Ves Eretz Ephraim and Menashe, says Rashi, Bishalvasa vechurbana. He showed him the peaceful times and the difficult times of Ephraim and Menashe. He showed him Yehoshua, leading the Jewish people into Eretz Yisrael, me Ephraim, the Gidon, me Menashe, versus Midian and Amalek. He saw the good times and the bad times. Veskol Eretz Yehuda, Rashi says, Bishalvasa v'churbana, in the good times and its destruction. He showed him Malchus Beis David v'nitzchunam. He showed him the future of Beis David, Melech David, who was going to accomplish and overcome and be victorious. Ad Yam HaAcharon, says Rashi, he showed him the great sea, the Mediterranean Sea, Ad Yam HaAcharon. Ad Yom HaAcharon, says Rashi. The great sea is the Yam HaAcharon, is the Yom HaAcharon. He showed him Achris HaYamim. He showed him Tchias HaMesim. That's HaNegev. He showed him Negev, Maras HaMachpelah. And he showed him Ves HaKikar. He showed him the Beis HaMikdash. What is the merit in the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu seeing all of these positivity and negativity? The Churban, the destruction, and the Shalva, the tranquility. Let me share with you an amazing scientific discovery. In 1998, February 26, 1998, there was a great experiment done here in Israel called the double slit experiment at the Weizmann Institute in Rehovot. Professor Mordechai Heiblum led a team of researchers and scientists, and they showed that when you fire an electron gun through a double slit, when they observe the electrons going through the double slit experiment, they act as particles, not as waves. When the electrons were passing through a regular machine, then their normal activity is they act as waves. But when they were observed by machinery and observed by the human eye, the electrons acted differently. By virtue of the observation of the electrons, they acted differently than if they were not observed. Because we know that electrons passing through a slit, an experiment, they're forced through a location, they usually act as waves. But now, by being observed, they act as particles. And this was an incredible discovery, that observation changes reality. That seeing the electrons and watching them, observing them, either by machine or by the human eye, changes the way the electrons react. This is happening on a quantum physics level. Watching something influences its behavior. Observations change the present, and observations change history. When Moshe Rabbeinu was asked to see and was shown with his mind's eye, Hashem's Nevuah, the positive and the negative of the Jewish people and the future of the Jewish people, what is being shown was, says the Alter of Slobodka, the idea of Churban Ubinyan. He was shown, as Rashi says, b'churbana u'b'shalvasa, the destruction and the tranquility. And the Alter Slobodka says that churban and binyan is woven into the fabric of the Jewish people. Take a look at Har Nevo. Nevo, as the sun is setting, and Moshe Rabbeinu was looking at Israel and looking at the future of the Jewish people and the history of the Jewish people. He saw, going back in history, Adam Arishan was commanded. That was a command by Hashem. That was binyan. But when he sinned, that was churban. That was destruction. He saw Noach ish tzaddik. That was binyan. But he saw the Tower of Babel. That was churban, destruction. But then after the destruction came Avram Avinu. That was binyan. That was reconstruction and rebuilding. He saw Bnei Yisrael as slaves. He experienced it himself, Moshe Rabbeinu, as slaves in Mitzrayim. That was destruction. But he saw and led the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim. That was binyan, redemption from the Jewish people. He was giving the Torah. Through him, the Torah was given, Matan Torah. That is binyan. But he also experienced the Egel HaZahav, the golden calf. That was churban. He experienced Shlomo HaMelech. He saw with his mind's eye Shlomo HaMelech building the Beis HaMikdash. That was binyan. But he saw also the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. That was destruction. Churban v'shalvasa. Why? Why was Moshe Rabbeinu given this opportunity to see with his own eyes? Heri sicha. See with your own eyes. Churban ubinyan. V'shalvasa umatzika. The building and its destruction. Its shalva and its difficulties. Why? When Moshe Rabbeinu was observing with his own eyes the Anav Me'od Mikol Adam, the man who was the most humble man of who ever lived, who was through him what the Torah was given, who had the greatest connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that a man could ever achieve, who had Keren Or Panav, the light of Hashem shone through his face. That eyes, the eyes that had within it the Or HaGanuz, the hidden light from the 6 days of creation, and he was able to have that light shine from his face. When he saw the churban and binyan, the destruction and the rebuilding of the Jewish people, that fabric of churban and binyan, as the Alter says, what he did was he gave chizuk and strength to the Jewish people in all generations to withstand difficulty, to revel and to enjoy and to celebrate the positives, but also to withstand difficulty. And that is the meaning of Moshe Rabbeinu seeing Herisicha be'enav. See the land. You cannot go there. But the merit, the value of seeing the land is that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to see the land and changed reality. He changed his observing of the land and all of Jewish history. Hashem showed him all of Jewish history that was going to come, that happened, was going to come. He changed the reality of our experience of Churban because he gave us strength. His eyes was able to give us strength. His vision was able to give us strength, chizuk, to withstand difficulties. And so when we daven to Hashem, we ask Hashem, please, not necessarily change the situation, but give me the strength to handle the situation. It's the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu, who stood on that mountain, who never set foot in Israel, not once, was not born here, and did not die here. He died there, in Arvos Moav, buried on the Pisgah, on that mountain, in Har Nevo. But his vision, his eyes saw all the learning we were ever going to do, all of the chidushim we're ever going to learn, and all of the travails, all of the churban, and all of the shalva, all the positives. His seeing us and seeing all of the unfolding of Jewish history gave us chizuk and gives us chizuk. And we can draw upon that strength, knowing that Moshe Rabbeinu's eyes gave us chizuk. And that's when we daven for to Hashem to withstand difficulties and challenges. We can draw upon the strength that Moshe Rabbeinu saw us, saw Jewish history, saw us going through Jewish history, bechurbana uveshalvasa, and then we can know that through that merit, God willing, Hashem will give us strength because of the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem will give us strength to withstand all of our challenges, our trials, our tribulations, until Bias Mashiach, when we'll celebrate in the ultimate redemption of the Jewish people with Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen and Miriam and Aviyah, and dance together with Kodesh Baruch Hu in the circle of tzaddikim and say, Zeh Keli, this is our God, and we'll celebrate not only the Churban and the strength that we were able to survive the Churban, but also Shalvasa, the tranquility and the redemption of the Jewish people.